everyone, and welcome to Tiger on the Block, the only podcast that takes collegiate a cappella members and makes them really uncomfortable for 30 minutes. I'm Tony like the tiger, Voss like the water.
And I'm Jessica Block, George Connoisseur.
Oh my god, Jess.
Oh my god, what?
Do you know what day it is?
Saturday?
Yes, but no, guess again.
The Ides of March?
Jessica Block, it is fully July. Guess again.
Hump Day?
We've already established that today is Saturday.
But this will be published on a Wednesday, right?
Well, yeah, but that fact is irrelevant to our discussion of what very special day today is.
Fine then. What special day is today?
It's the 10-anniversary.
10-anniversary?
Heck to the hickety heck yeah, it's the 10-anniversary.
What's a 10-anniversary?
Take a wild guess.
The anniversary of the day 10 was discovered?
No. What? No. It's the 10th episode of the podcast. Get it? 10 anniversary. 10-anniversary. You see what I'm saying?
Oh! Wait. What is today?
The 10-anniversary.
And that is...
I feel like you're just messing with me at this point.
Perhaps.
Anyway, we have a great episode for you guys today.
Oh, by the way, Tony, happy 10th episode! Double digits!
It is indeed, Jess. It is indeed. Who do we have in the studio today?
We have Cappella from the University of British Columbia.
I'm going back to New Orleans, to the of the rising sun.
Based in Vancouver, British Columbia, this group has taken the Canadian a cappella world by storm.
Within only 5 years since their founding, they've consistently placed in the ICCA West quarterfinals, reigning champion in both 2018 and 2020.
We have two guests in the studio today. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves, where you're from, and who are you?
Hi, I'm Izzie Jacobsen. I am an incoming second-year student. I'm originally from a town in Illinois called Normal, surrounded by a lot of corn, but now I'm in Canada.
What's going on? I'm Vino from University of British Columbia, Vino Cuenca. Born and raised in Vancouver. West Coast all the way. Let's go.
Nice. It's nice to meet you guys. It's nice to have people who aren't going to college in the United States. It's kind of new and interesting. Since we've had a lot of California groups and a couple East Coast groups. Here's some questions for you guys, I guess, about your life in the a cappella world. Our first one for you is, how did you get into music and a cappella? So just music in general, or a cappella if that's your only experience with it, but just your whole music career. Go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've done music basically my whole life. Like, since I was a kid, I was always in choir and theater, musical theater, everything. But when I came to university, I didn't necessarily know that I wanted to do music or a cappella or anything. I was just kind of in the mindset of, this is my first year, I have to do everything, I have to expose myself to everything. So I ended up going to UBC a cappella's intro workshop completely by chance, auditioning for this just because it looked cool, and here we are. Like, it has become my entire life.
Awesome. You have an intro workshop? Is that?
Oh yeah. At the beginning of the year, just to introduce like all of the different groups that you can audition for, we have 2 competitive groups and 5 non-competitive groups. And so that's a major way that we get our word out to new students that might not know of it before.
That's awesome.
Yeah. For me, I've always also been into music. I was, taking guitar, saxophone lessons since I was like 5 or 6. I started beatboxing around like 9, but I didn't really start taking it seriously until I discovered pentatonics, which was like, in their Daft Punk era kind of thing. And then that was kind of what bridged the gap between like, just doing it casually into like doing it competitively, because that's when I found like all these like world championships for beatbox. And then eventually, when I got to university, I realized like, wow, there are a cappella groups that do need beatboxer people, and I'm one of those. So yeah, and it essentially became my life, and here we are.
That's cool. We love the Daft Punk album. That one's
Yes, a classic.
up all night together.
Love pentatonics.
Love
It
that.
really is the gateway drug to a cappella culture.
Really.
Oh, it
And
is.
beatboxing,
Pitch
too. It was
Perfect,
amazing.
pentatonics.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call a trifecta when there are only 2. The duality.
The duality of
I don't
man.
know.
Mm-hmm.
The difecta.
So, for those of you who don't know, Vino is an incredible beatboxer, winning the Canadian Beatbox Championships in 2019. So, he's basically the best beatboxer in Canada. Vino, if you feel so inclined, would you like to clue us into a bit of how that competition process was like and your experience within the competitive beatboxing scene in general?
It's a funny story because I kind of got into it by accident. Like, I never thought I was going to be actually ever competing. Like, I do enjoy performing, but I never really, like, there was a point like around 2016 where I was like super into beatboxing, but I was never like watching the videos thinking like, oh, that's going to be me one day. But what I did find was that like there wasn't a lot of beatboxers that I knew of in Vancouver. And then I realized that like if you make a submission for the Canadian Championships, they publish it on their channel regardless of whether or not you get it. And so it's free exposure to like anyone in your area. So I was like, oh sure, I'll submit, and like anyone will know that I exist in Vancouver. And then I got in and I was like, oh, I have to actually compete now. And then I was like, okay, I have to come up with all these routines and get ready to actually like have a battle and stuff. And then I went and like I lost first round. I got eliminated, which was awesome. But like I still like super like enjoyed it. And I was thinking like, again, it was like the gateway drug. Wow, I love being on stage, even though I have to like pay $600 to go from Vancouver to Toronto. It's such a worth trip, and I get to see people who are as obsessed with, you know, making cat noises all the time, you know, as me, you know. And it was really good to like be in my element and be in my community. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. And here we are as the champion now.
Yeah. Like when you do a beatbox battle on that competition, what is that like? Do you just go on stage with the other person? And
yeah, so it's weird because there's only so much that you can do to prepare for it, because you never really know exactly who you're going to go against until maybe like 30 minutes before it actually happens. So the best you can do is like come up with like, you know, your best routines. And then once you know who you're going against, you know, kind of like brush up on his or her style. And then like, yeah, like freestyle like a counter. It's really weird because like you have everything prepared, but at the same time you could throw it all away and do something completely different. And it's weird like that. Like it's kind of like the Wild West. Like you never know how everything's going to play out regardless of how much you've prepared.
So is it like improv, or is it mostly like you kind of script it for yourself and that you like write out what you're going
it's
to
like yeah, I scripted for myself. And like if I know I'm going against someone who is like famous for using one specific sound, and I know how to do that sound, I'm going to like use that sound or try to use that sound in a better way or like a different, more creative way than he would. Or you know, cutting my round short to include like that part, like, and restructuring my round. So it's like really thinking on the spot and like adapting your entire performance, because it's not just like the beat. You gotta like, there's like a crowd interaction aspect. Yeah,
it's almost like debating, because you have your argument out beforehand and then you hear what they have to say and you have to kind of change on the fly. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. Yeah. That's so intense, and like it's so much more I don't know, I guess improvisational is not the right word, but it's so much more like of a thinking on your feet kind of activity than I imagined it would be, because in my mind it's like, oh, someone else performs and then you perform and then you get compared, but it's like a literal battle.
Yeah, I find it a lot like, this is like a kind of a stretch, but like this is like kind of my experience with music. It's like, it's kind of like jazz. Like you never really write out the solo section. You just say like, all right, 16 bars, saxophone, go off. And that's pretty much what we do. It's like, all right, I have like 20 seconds left in my round, and I know I need to like counter my opponent with like this sound. So this is what I'm going to do for 20 seconds. And then on the spot, you're like, okay, and then you come up with a beat right there.
That's so crazy. Yeah. That's intense. Incredible. I've never like heard about this process before, so it's really cool. Yeah. About it now.
Yeah, it's awesome. And like, if you see videos of like beatbox battles, they get so hyped. They get really turned up. It's such a cool experience, and I could see how just getting into one has just been like the motivation for you to continue and then go off to win one, which is incredible. Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. Hearing yourself on the speakers and like the monitors and then it's really crazy, like thinking like it's one thing to play an instrument and have people dance to it, but then just to literally just go like, and then people are already like jumping at it. It's I don't know. It's something that's like, you made this and people are like moving their bodies to it, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy. So next I'd like to touch a little bit on the aca-pella scene in general, just at UBC and in Canada. Does it differ immensely from the American scum? And We rewrote that one, and I realized I wasn't supposed to say that one out loud, but I like it, and so I'm keeping it.
I left it on the off chance that you might say it out loud because I wasn't against you saying it out loud.
I decided I really liked it. But are the ICCAs in the U.S. a cultural shock to you guys at all? Is there like something that you guys notice that are different between competing within like a more America US centric competition versus doing things out in Canada?
Yeah, I guess the ICCAs really isn't a culture shock because for aca-pella, that's the only thing we do. UBC aca-pella is pretty distinct. I think that it's more of a UBC thing than a Canadian American thing, but we have groups that are specifically non-competitive and they just perform at the end of each semester. They perform, sometimes they'll do gigs on and off campus and stuff, but our two competitive groups, aca-pella and the Northwest Collective, are very focused on the ICCA. Like that's all we do. We do gigs, but yeah, the entire rehearsal process is basically preparing our set and getting ready for this competition.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the only difference that I can the big kind of shocking thing that I always find is like every time we go to ICCAs and then like other groups ask about like how our format is, and we tell them that we have like what we call general groups, which is pretty much groups that don't do the ICCAs, but they still do rehearsals and like perform at the end of the year. Every time we describe that to them, they're like, "Whoa, that's so crazy," because I feel like again, this is just my experience with groups that I've seen at ICCAs, but a lot of them are like, we only have ICCA groups at our university, and like we're all very ICCA centric, which is cool because it's nice to have like a tangible goal, to work towards and rehearse towards and have like this big performance and stuff. But yeah, I think that's like one of the biggest differences that I find every time like we interact with American groups.
I'd say like UCLA, just to give you another, I guess, example, UCLA has like 18 a cappella groups, and maybe 5 or 6 of them have done the ICCAs, and it tends to be that the ones who do compete are better, but there are ones who haven't competed who are also really good. Because as you said, like it motivates people to be better. Like when you have a competition coming up, you're probably going to work a little harder than if you have like your spring concert, which will be fun and awesome, but like the stakes are kind of lower, Mm-hmm. But most groups at UCLA, I'd say, even if they do the ICCAs, it's not like it's their whole year. It's like a thing they do. And then the rest of the year, they'll have like performances with other groups at UCLA. Like groups will open for each other. Every group sometimes has like a winter, like Christmassy type holiday performance. And a lot of groups perform in that they do like music videos and albums. So everyone does like a lot of everything. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Tony, but I think there aren't really any groups at UCLA who are like only focused on ICCAs. Some of them even do it every other year, and like the year in between, they'll do an album. So they switch off like album, ICCA, album.
In my understanding of the UCLA groups, those that do go into the ICCA, they make it as like part of their goal. But usually just we're on the quarter system. So usually a lot of fall quarter is a lot more focused on learning the music and coming up with the choreography and getting that stuff that we've already laid the groundwork for. And then that fall quarter's getting preparation, as well as, reaching out to new people and teaching them some of like the old songs that we've done in the past that we really love and would love to keep doing.
I guess you reminded me, Tony, with that. The reason probably that quarter system a cappella groups have time to do things other than ICCAs is because the finals are in April or something, right? And after that, like they're done. And our spring quarter starts in April. So we have a whole quarter that like is kind of after ICCAs. So we have a whole like chunk of time to focus on other things. Even if groups are going to finals, which one of our groups, Scattertones, has done, like even if they do that.
Scattertones.
Yeah. We interviewed them 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Love them. But yeah, they
quality.
Yeah, they're fun. They're so hype. They made it to finals, and then after that they had a bunch of time to record music videos and just do their spring concert and chill a little bit, which is kind of nice, I think. I mean, we have less time to prepare for ICCAs in the fall because we start school basically in October, but we have more time on the back end of the year to do other things.
Yeah, I just thought like when your last quarter starts in April, right? I was out of school by April 30th this year. Like I know finals were going on past that, but we're pretty much done.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird to hear like how the format works, because like when I was thinking about like the fact that you said that like some groups aren't necessarily like, if they don't go to ICCAs, then they still like do performances and stuff, because Northwest Collective and Cappella, which are the two competitive groups at UBC, we advertise ourselves as like, we're the competitive group. We are going to go to the competition. And it never really occurred to me that we actually don't necessarily like advertise like what is going to happen if we don't get to quarterfinals, which is like, we don't even really consider that a possibility, which I don't know. It's because, maybe we just have enough groups in our area that every group qualifies or something like that. But we just don't really prepare for what happens if we don't qualify for quarters. And we kind of just format our entire year around that, where like the first 2 months we kind of use like old songs for our wild card, or not our wild card. Yeah. The submission video. And then, and then like come like November or something, we start learning our arrangements for ICCAs, and then January's choreography, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, it's weird to hear. It's kind of interesting to hear how like the format and like the style changes based on like, because we're, semester and you guys are quarters and stuff. So yeah.
Slightly different timeline for sure. And I think that like, as you were saying, like, I think it's true too, in Southern California and just that area, that like most people who audition that I've heard of for quarterfinals do get to quarterfinals at least. Like they get to the live performance. The more like weeding out, I guess, happens like at the end of quarterfinals when you're going out of semis. Which kind of doesn't really lead to our next question, but it's it's tangentially related. It's all a cappella. We know a lot about what your group now does.
Speaking about a cappella, this a cappella topic.
Yep. Basically, we know now that kind of your group's like competition schedule, what you do with that. Does your group do anything outside of that socially? Do you have any fun like social outings? Do you guys hang out? Are Canadians just like the nicest people ever? That's what everyone's thinking, everyone in the United States just thinks Canada is just nice people town, but like bigger than a town because it's Canada.
I think you should talk about the A Cup.
The A Cup?
We all, yeah.
What?
The
what?
Sorry. At the end of the year, this is actually one of my really fun a cappella memories. Vino's parents invited us all over before quarantine started. It was a full competition of like, we split into mini groups and basically performed at their house, like in competition with each other.
We had like musical challenges, like
mini
do a cover of a Bee Gees
spot.
song, and then do a cover of a Bruno Mars song, So we had, that's kind of like the stuff that we do. It's weird. It's weird because we're so stereotypically a cappella. It's like, what does this a cappella group do in their free time? Film covers together and go to restaurants and get kicked out because we're singing too much. Like we have like this bar near our campus that we famously go to for our concert after parties, and we traditionally always get kicked out around like midnight or something because it's just like an entire club of like 90 something people coming in and singing like an ABBA song and then it's someone's birthday there and then they're like, oh god. So yeah, I don't know, a lot of it is, if we're not studying or eating, it's probably singing very loud.
It's
in
very
public.
stereotypical.
Yeah,
like we have a retreat in the fall. That was also one of my favorite aka memories. But we would all go spend the night at someone's house. And I think this year we literally, one of the first things we did was set up the karaoke. We just did karaoke the whole time. We woke up in the morning and like practiced our set and we were singing the entire time basically.
When we did that activity where, I thought this was so wholesome, where like everyone got up on the mic and sang their audition song, like the song that they auditioned to the group for, which was so wholesome. I love that. Yeah.
That's such a fun idea. We should do that.
I don't know if I remember my audition song.
I do.
That's so wholesome. I really love how your group just like comes together, and when it's like there's nothing else to do, you guys sing, and you it really like inspires like the added competitiveness, and also like it really creates a sense of unison within the group.
Yeah, it kind of like, I mean, it's kind of inevitable because a cappella kind of attracts a certain kind, it attracts people that like eat, sleep, and poop a cappella, they love performing. So like when you put a group of them together and you go to get ramen sometime, that they're going to be singing at the bar for the entire time, the entire meal. So yeah, I love it, but it's crazy.
And just to touch on the Canadianness aspect, One of the things that surprised me, I thought I was going to be like a weirdo for being from America in a Canadian school, but UBC is so international and A is so international. I feel like we have more international students than Canadians in our group. So
That's actually true. Yeah, we do.
Wow.
yeah, the Canadians that I've encountered are very nice, but I think I don't know, you get people of all types in all situations. Like, I love the people that I'm in acapella with. That's basically it.
So you guys are a relatively younger group. We've had the Penchants on here prior, and their group has been around since like forever, since acapella. Not since acapella existed, because I guess that's like Gregorian chant.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
But yeah, they've been around for a really, really long time, and your group has been around for around 4 or 5 years. And so, if you guys could touch on the growth that you have seen, I know there's a steep learning curve, but with that brings like an almost exponential growth once the ball starts getting rolled. So, if you guys can talk about the differences when you got when Izzie got there before Vino got there, and just where the group has gone since their founding.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
Do you want to talk?
yeah, I'll go first, and then you can actually talk about like how you've seen it grow from like the beginning of the year till now. Because I'm old.
Yeah, my
and I've
first
been in this group
impression
for
was
a while.
completely
Yeah, I've
different.
been in this group for 3 years.
But yeah, it's crazy because when I joined, the group wasn't necessarily like, oh, we're here to, go to quarters and do as well as we can at quarters. Hopefully we qualify for semis. There was none of that. It was just like, we're going to go to quarters because every group gets in, and then kind of like see where we go, just put on the best show, and then hopefully we have fun. And that was like our attitude going into quarters. But then that year we actually won. So like, not necessarily like by accident, but it's just like, we put on a great show, and then we just happened to win, and we were like, oh wow, we actually are going to semis. So then we went to semis, and if you've been to semis, I feel like the increase in like skill level from quarters is exponential. I feel like all the groups at semis are like, that's like SoCal vocal level. You go there and you're like, whoa. Like when I went to semis, like my first year, and I saw SoCal vocals, I was like, oh cool, so they sound like a recording live. They look like a music video live. Like, this is amazing. But yeah, so like we experienced that, and seeing all these like talented groups kind of like inspired on when I say my generation, so like the kids that joined that year, they kind of got inspired, so that the next year when we did like the whole musical director rotation and positions, that generation kind of was like, yo, we know what we're capable of, let's do it. And that's year that we like kind of started getting things more and more competitive, and having like really planning out our arrangements, and not just like going with like old arrangements that the club has done. So yeah, and that's kind of where we are now. We've been taking it like not just necessarily like taking it seriously, but like going at it with a more competitive attitude. We've been going at it since like 2018-ish, around that.
I feel like that's a good thing to get a group going from like new to established, is to just go right into the competition. Izzie, did you have something to add? Or?
Yeah, my experience coming in, there was a lot of turnover in the group this year, and I've talked to some of the other people who it's their first year in the group, and we were all kind of, oh my God, here we are, pencil out, like we are ready, at the first rehearsal, like it's time to go, and then you get into it and you make friends with everyone. But I think that right off the bat, the atmosphere was, we're going to do our best, and our best is going to be competitive. We're going to not copy highly competitive groups, but we're going to do our best to get as far in the ICCA competition as we can, and constantly be improving and constantly do that. I didn't know this at the beginning, but like that's like, we're a new group. That attitude is relatively new to the way that things had been done with the ICCA groups.
Yeah, especially at UBC. Yeah, because like, and historically, yeah, as I've said before, like even if when it was advertised, it was like when it was like, pitched on like Clubs Day and stuff, it was more of like, come join us. Like, we perform internationally, and that's kind of like what its peak was. It was never necessarily like we are competitive, like whenever like we describe ourselves now to like people who are asking like, oh, like what do you guys like, what is this a-cappella club that you're in? We're always like, oh, it's pitch perfect. Like, it's exactly like that. We're competitive, There's judges. We do all these crazy performances. It's exactly like that. Everyone's a nerd about it too. You know, like that's how we we operate. And yeah, we try and go at it as competitively as possible. And yeah, what Izzie was describing, like the whole like, ooh, we gotta like come in with like the right attitude and stuff, and like it's like a shock. I don't know. It was like that, but at the same time, it's like again, as I've said before, an ICCA group attracts a certain kind of like someone who is like very passionate about performing and about singing and stuff. So at the same time, it was like, you know, all you really demand is people, you know, just put in their 100% like that they would regardless, because they just love performing. So, you know, we that's what the group is composed of, like people who are just like crazy passionate about being on stage and putting their best foot forward kind of thing.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, that kind of leads to the next thing we were going to talk about, which is your 2020 ICCA experience specifically, because you guys competed this year. You made it to semifinals, and I think it was going to be the same semifinal as us, actually. We were going to see you guys, but...
Really?
ICCA West semifinal.
The one in Oregon, right?
Salem,
Yeah.
Salem,
Yeah. We
Oregon.
were going to be at the same semifinal, but
Yeah.
alas, it was not meant to be, unfortunately, due to this lovely, lovely Rona.
We love COVID.
We'll love
catch
it.
you at the next one, though.
We will. We'll see you guys there.
See you there.
But before we get there, which, you know, we have a lot of time before then, but also before we get there, topic-wise, we also have a question for you just about your experience with arranging and choreo and your road sort of to the ICCAs this year specifically.
Well, I can actually speak because I actually kind of saw this like before Izzie was necessarily in the group, because like I saw like Jake and our musical directors kind of working on the arrangements beforehand, and I remember seeing like hearing like our last song Blow, which is like this crazy like Bruno Mars song. I remember like Jake was pitching it to me. He's like, hey, do you know like this Bruno Mars song? It's like a rock song. And I was like, wait, Bruno Mars does rock? Excuse me? But like, yeah, he showed it to me and he's like, yeah, do you think like you could do the drums for this? And I was, you know, started like doing stuff and putting it all together. And yeah, I do remember, again, like we were going at it as competitively as possible. So we were thinking like, I could already see like Jake and Shirley, our musical directors, they were kind of like already putting together like the whole story for our set, like, you know, having like this big bombastic like sexy like last song that's just gonna blow everyone's minds, and then like the first song is like this, you know, like nice chill like intro, but like, you know, that where we focus more on the arrangement and the soloist versus like choreo and performance. But yeah, like that was already happening in like August of the year before, and yeah, we kind of like put it all together. And it's funny how things work, you know, when people audition for your group and you never really foresee them being like perfect for the song, you know? Like when we had Victor and Migs for our Blow, like we never expected them to just have like the perfect tone and really recreate that like, you know, AC/DC like rock feel, but like there you go, they kind of had it, and it kind of fit perfectly for our set, you know?
Yeah, it's awesome when you get like new freshmen or whatever year they're coming in, if they're transfers, and you have a song you're planning to do for ICCAs and you didn't really have a soloist in mind, and the freshmen audition and they're perfect and you're like, the stars have aligned. Yes.
It was actually so funny too, because when Victor auditioned, it's so funny because he shows up in like a big jacket and he's like super cool. He's like, yeah guys, I'm so sick. I don't know if I could do the audition today. And we're like, hey man, if you want to do it another day, it's totally fine. He's like, I'll just try it today. And then like we do the song, and then he like executes the song perfectly. He like rips off his scarf. He's like, Appa! And then we're just like, okay, yeah. I'm sick. But yeah, no, it was hilarious. He got it. It was amazing. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Well, this conversation leads perfectly into our next segment, as it always finds a way. Everybody, welcome to Music Notes. This is the part of our show where we take a look back at a past performance of your group and talk a little bit about the preparation that went into it, how it felt to perform live, and what it feels like to look back at it now. In this episode, we're going to take a look at Capella's cover of Blow by Ed Sheeran, Bruno Mars, and Chris Stapleton at their 2020 ICCA West quarterfinals, with soloists Migs and Victor. Let's check it out.
Oh
Yeah. Why don't you guys clue us in on a bit of those visceral responses that you guys are getting? Like, what are your first thoughts looking back, and what are you feeling? What do you remember about that whole experience?
Bro, I've seen this video about 50,000 times, I think. I watched it obsessively after we got it back. But yeah, one of the things that we were really focusing on before the performance that I don't think it clicked until the actual performance was stage presence and just completely vibing. And that's a huge part of what I remember about it. And that's like what I see when I watch it. I see us finally we always record ourselves in rehearsal to watch back how we're looking. And, you know, it's never as hype as we always think we're performing it. But on stage, it's just a completely different vibe. Yeah, it brings back that incredible feeling of like, this is a show. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this full out.
I love that. Yeah,
I like it a lot.
Like it brings back like that whole sentiment of like, which is, I don't know. This is kind of like the reason why I joined is for like this competitive sense, but also there's like stakes because we were always saying like, yo guys, this could actually be the last time we're performing together, like this year, like as like competitively, you know, like if we don't qualify for semis, then we're done competitively. So like that's the end. So like having like that stakes and that whole like it's all on the line, like we got to perform like our heart outs. And yeah, they're all like these moments that I remember like constantly rehearsing just to execute it perfectly. That one moment, like that part where we all like scream, like the scream part in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The first time we did it, I don't even know.
It's so funny too because, you know, we get the sheet music like a day before the rehearsal, and then we pull up and then do the sight reading together. And then I remember everyone in the group chat was like, what's this one section that says like 4 specific people and then there's like one really, really high note? Because he got everyone that could like belt that note and like just put them all in like one bunch. He's like, all right, you guys are going to scream it at that part.
It literally said scream on the sheet music.
I love that.
They even had like a separate rehearsal multiple times to just practice the screaming part.
Amazing. I feel like
it's just for that one moment.
Acapella.
Yeah.
We're just gonna get the screamers together for a side rehearsal. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I will say, watching your guys' performance is hosting this podcast with Tony and also just being at a couple ICCA quarterfinals. You see a lot of acapella performances, and I think that your guys' is unique in that there's just so much energy. Like, we see groups perform that sound good, we see groups perform that look good, but you guys, like, you sound good, and then you look just so professional. Like, your movements are sharp and like exact, and there's like 18 people doing it at the same time. Like, I don't know how many people are in your group, but probably around there, but like it's insane. Like, you guys will all put your hand in and I'll put your hand out, and we had a couple moves like that in our set and they were not together. And when you guys do it, it's like precision. It's like laser cut acapella choreo. It's amazing, and I just want to commend you on that because I know how hard it is to get that stuff so exact while singing and thinking about like dynamics and emotion and all of that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and that is definitely not something that just like would happen. Like, we'd go over the same part like multiple times, leave rehearsal all sweaty. Like,
but I also like, this is a point that one of the guys in our group, Ernest, made, and like it was such a like accurate point, is like the song is perfect because not only is it like, you know, like a big fancy like last song, like it's perfect that like it has that energy, but it's a song that like you will enjoy performing. Like the arrangement is fun to do, all the parts are fun and catchy, so like it adds to like it's easier to put like passion and emotion into something when you actually enjoy it. So like when because I remember like, you know, every time we'd end and like we'd do like a whole run through the set, and then the guy who said that, Ernest, he'd be like, oh, I love this song so much, this song is so catchy. He's like, thank you, Jake. But yeah, no, it was it's just really that like everyone loves that song like in our group, and like so I think it was like a perfect choice to have it as like our last song and like to be easy to execute as well.
I think it's massively important to enjoy the song and enjoy the arrangement. You know, there's no parts where the stereotypical alto line like da da da, that's not happening. So yeah, just big credit to our arrangers on that.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a song that you're singing in your a cappella group and it makes you feel like this pure joy to sing it, it makes it so much easier to emote because you're like seriously feeling what you're supposed to be feeling and you don't even need to act. Like it's it just makes life easier in that way. Not to say that acapella is easy, like it's not, but when you can enjoy it on that level, it feels so good. And I could tell from your guys' performance that it felt good to do.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
All right, well, we have a game for you all to play, but before we get into that, we would like to thank our sponsors. Today's episode is brought to you by ukuleles, finding their way into every party to deliver you the same 3 songs on loop. Hope you like the key of C.
And by trees.
We have 2 of the best beatboxers in North America here in the studio today. Jessica and Izzie, are you ready to spit?
Oh yeah, you know me.
Woo! Boots and cats and boots and cats.
All right, well, thank you for that. We're obviously talking about Sonicflo and Vino.
We're going to have you guys do a classic beatbox battle, Tiger on the Block style. So we're going to have one of you start with a simple beat pattern, and then you'll pass it to the other person who will repeat it and then add their own flair. And this will keep going till you guys are just basically showing off and the rest of us have gone blind from overexposure to pure awesomeness.
The point of this battle is less for one of you to win and more to just show both of you off. Because y'all are amazing and we're all friends here, eh?
Yeah, like we like to think of this as the Canada of podcasts.
But for today's battle, we're Switzerland because we love you both. Andrew, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Andrew. I am the vocal percussionist of Pitch Please Acapella at UCLA and a hobbyist beatboxer. Unlike Vino, I don't really compete in this, but I do like to have fun with it. So, yeah.
AKA Sonic Flow. Sonic like the hedgehog, flow like progressive. All right, let's get started. Which one of you wants to go first?
You can go first. Because I'll go at the same tempo that you do.
Actually, just a quick thing. Tony, what you're probably going to have to do because of the latency on this, I'm just going to go when I hear Vino end, but there's going to be some gap in it. So like, just watch out.
We did syllable by syllable singing as one of these games. I think this will be fine. This will be fine.
That must have been a pain to edit.
Oh,
I'm so sorry, Tony.
Ash. 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 Ash.
Excellent.
Wonderful. Oh my God, you guys, that was fantastic.
I could not imagine a better thing to do for the 10th episode. This has been incredible. How do you guys feel coming out of that jam?
Okay, it's actually really funny because like when I woke up, the first thing that popped up on my YouTube was your battle against Vokoda that just got released, like, I want to say, like, 12 hours ago. And I was just watching that, and I was just like, damn, I'm really about to be in the same Zoom meeting at this guy. So, you know, I mean, I remember first watching him on Just Your Average Beatboxer. That was the first video I watched of his, and like it's just crazy, you know. I've been following him for a while, and it's very surreal to have that type of experience with somebody that I've looked up to.
I have arrived. I heard everything he said. I was just in the middle of fixing my mic. Thank you so much. That's so awesome. That video is so old, by the way. The average beatboxer. Also, I get roasted for that so hard because I made that like a year. For context, he's talking about a video that I made like in 2017, and it was literally called Just an Average, or like Life as an Average Beatboxer, because I literally thought I was back then. I still think I am. I don't know. I'm just like a regular guy. And yeah, so that video was pretty much just like me talking about like a regular experience in like the competitive beatbox scene. I mean, like, yeah, I guess I won the Canadian championships, whatever. But I don't know. I think the experience is still relevant, and like, I don't know. Thank you so much for following me since. And it was fun to jam with you. You're sick. Yeah, dude, like, definitely consider competing in American Champs or like joining online battles on Discord. Those things are like great ways to like level up and like meet people from the community. Like, dude, I judged a competition where Napalm was there. It was pretty sick, and he was just like, yo, what's good, man? So yeah, it's fun. It's a great community, and yeah, thanks so much for jamming with me, bro.
That was an amazing beatbox battle. Holy heck in a handbasket, as they say. No
They
way.
do say that.
Oh man, they really do. Well, Tony, do you want to say
Sure. Well, we're coming down to the end of our podcast, so we're going to give you this small segment at the end to just promote whatever you guys want to, whether it's your own personal, whatever you got going on. If there's people that you feel that, hey, they deserve a shout out, go ahead and give them one. Also, this is a great time to shout out any social media plugs. This is a good time to plug any music that you have out so that listeners can they can find your music and get to experience more of your guys' amazing talent and skill.
We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, Spotify, aca-Cappella, EH, like Canada A.
Hit us on all those platforms. We're also on TikTok. Hit us up on TikTok.
Yeah.
We're on TikTok. Oh, that's a new one.
Yeah, we're on TikTok. Hit us up there.
Also hit up UBC Acapella on YouTube as well. You can find the rest of our amazing acapella club there. We have a bunch of non-competitive but still equally as talented groups at our club. 5 other ones exactly. We also have the other competitive acapella group at our school, Northwest Collective. Huge shout out to them. Super talented. Also, we're at Quarters. You can check them out on Instagram and all the social platforms. I think they're also on TikTok, so you can check them out as well.
We'll have that all linked below too. So if you're listening right now and you're looking for more a-cappella content, go ahead and click the links in our description. We will have all of that there. If you want to see their Spotify, their YouTube, their everything, it'll be there for you. Go ahead and follow your heart and those links and listen up to their stuff.
Excellent. Vino, do you have anything that you want to shout out for your own personal brand?
Oh, I mean, if you like fun acapella covers, I do a couple of those on my Instagram. I have a few of them with some people who are also in acapella groups. I'm on YouTube. I post beatboxing videos every now and then. But yeah, it's funny because I guess as a competitive beatboxer, a lot of the stuff that gets posted of you is posted by other channels. So I guess if you're interested in my mouth noises specifically, you can just type in Vino Beatbox on YouTube or Google or whatever and find me.
Awesome. Well, we would just like to thank you guys for coming on this podcast. It has been an incredible time with you both to hear about Canada's acapella scene and your guys' special trip to the ICCAs and seeing your guys' growth. It's been a pleasure to have both Vino and Sonicflo Andrew here on the call today. This has been a great episode, and I could have asked for anything better for the 10th anniversary.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us
on.
Thanks so much.
It's lovely to see the Americans, and we were gonna see you guys at semis anyways, so it's good to get a sneak peek at what maybe we'll see you guys at the next one, hopefully whenever it is.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood, yeah.
All right. We would also like to thank our Canadian executive producer, Maple syrup for taking care of all of the sticky situations.
Canada for just being so gosh darn nice.
Wait, I didn't know you were gonna do a Canada one too.
Yeah, we really went ham on this one.
Nah, bro. We went full Canadian bacon.
We really did though, didn't we?
And of course, our listeners, thank you for tuning in.
Join us again next week when our guests will be someone from somewhere. You'll just have to find out.
Mysterious.
Indeed.
This has been Tiger on the Block. Remember to treat those vocal cords right.
Try out that riff you've always wanted to try.
And chug a ton of honey.
Never felt so